Music has a way of weaving people together. It connects the past with the present. It balances sadness with joy. For Rob Fishman and his mother Rosette, these sounds coming from Rob's fingers are like magic, bitter, sweet magic.
My father was a phenomenal musician. He played the piano as well as the harmonica. He did not read a note of music, it was strictly by ear, but he made beautiful music, entertained us for hours. My children, of course, inherited this wonderful, wonderful talent.
Rosette's father, who's Rob's grandfather, was named Shama. He was murdered by the Nazis, but his legacy and raw musical talent live on, one note at a time, passed down to his grandson, who he never got to meet.
It's strange, but I do feel a presence when I play. And I know it sounds crazy, but I do feel there's somebody sitting on my shoulder, and the notes do come out sometimes very clearly and easily, and almost as if I'm guided at what to play.
Rob is guided by a brave soul whose life was cut short in the most horrific of ways. Rosette's story begins in Paris in 1932. Her father Shama and her mother Dora, who was always elegant and composed, showered their little girl with love and affection.
From the time I was born, she called me her Mazel dicke Kind, because Mazel brings good luck. And she felt that as soon as I was born, they became very prosperous. My parents were young Polish immigrants who came to seek a better life in Paris. I had an older brother, 8 years older, Bernard. We had a beautiful life. My father was a furrier. My mother helped him in his shop. She used the machine to sew fur coats.
And it wasn't just her style and tailoring skills. Rosette also remembers her mother Dora being an incredible chef.
One day I came home from school, went into the bathroom, and saw a big fish swimming in the tub. I asked her why there was a fish swimming in the bathtub, and she replied, "I have to make gefilte fish for the holidays, for Passover, and I want to make sure that it's fresh." Life was good. We had wonderful vacations. I was given everything a little girl could want.
Until a dark cloud slowly cast a deathly shadow across Europe, decimating one Jewish community at a time.
It started very gradually. I remember going to school wearing the star, but as we left school every day, the boys of the neighboring school ran after us, throwing rocks at us and calling us all kinds of dirty names. So we had to run home as fast as we could. And I would run into the house and yell at my mother, "Why do we have to be Jewish? Why do we have to be different?"
This gradual rise in anti-Semitism resulted in 6 million Jewish lives wiped out.
My parents, 2 weeks after I left, they were arrested. They were sent to Drancy first and then to Auschwitz. And unfortunately, they never came back.
Rosette's parents made the impossible decision to send their little girl away, their greatest act of love and sacrifice. A Christian neighbor was able to pass Rosette off as his daughter and bring her to the south of France to a small village called Priever. Once there, another Christian family took her in. That area was considered to be the free zone of France.
When I went into that little town where there was not one Jew, I must tell you something very funny. One of the first friends that I made there, her name was Janine. She looked at me up and down, up and down. She said, "I never met a Jew, but you don't look any different." And she became my best friend.
Rosette's brother Bernard survived by fighting in the resistance. The two siblings reunited in Paris after the war and learned the devastating truth of their parents' murder.
Our apartment had been taken and all the belongings were taken, except for a couple of items that they gave the neighbors for safekeeping, like photographs and the clock.
Her family's clock is now here in the archive room at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County, where I work as the storyteller and where Rob volunteers his time as the vice chairman of the board. Our center educates tens of thousands of students in person every year about the horrors of the Holocaust. The success of our nonprofit is necessary to keep the first-hand testimonies alive.
So we're at a really interesting inflection point in history where we are and have been losing survivors. As time marches on, sad to say, we look at future generations.
Rosette speaks to students and anyone willing to listen every chance she gets. She believes it's her obligation, especially as we see such rampant worldwide anti-Semitism today.
I am one of the few living survivors. It's very important for especially young children to see and hear a witness who was a witness to the horrors of the Holocaust.
Rosette has 3 children, all with Shama's musical genes, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
Oh, my first look at my great-grandson.
This incredible video captures the moment Rosette met her first great-grandchild named Miles. No better revenge against the Nazis. With her family, including devoted husband Peter by her side, Rosette is hopeful that only sweet symphonies will play for the rest of her days. From Long Island, New York, Dana Arshin, HMTC.
That was called Rose.
Rose?
I just made it up.